Planning and Zoning Commission
having been appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission
in the Village of Machesney Park,
in the Village of Machesney Park,
Illinois, and the County of Winnebago.
Illinois, and the County of Winnebago.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
will support the Constitution of the United States,
support the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
support the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the Planning and Zoning
the
Commission
duties of the Planning and Zoning Commission
in accordance with the best of my
in
abilities.
accordance with the best.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Sign that. Give it back to me.
I call to order the October 28th, 2024 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Mr. Secretary, would you please take roll this evening?
Commissioner Pfluger.
Here.
Commissioner Hankins.
Here.
Commissioner Klinger is here. Commissioner Holmes.
Here.
Commissioner Martin.
Here.
Commissioner Danilovich.
Here. Okay, so we have a quorum for this evening. And let's see, next up on the approval of the minutes. Everyone should have received a copy of the minutes from the September 23rd, 2024 meeting. Are there any additions or corrections?
I have no.
Oh, yes, I do.
Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item number 4, any communications?
No.
Okay, item number 5, jumping into ordinance number 5724 for special use permit for outdoor storage in the general industrial district. May we have staff report, please?
Yes, this is the location for Nelson Fire, and they've been storing piping materials outdoors. However, it wasn't until they applied to enlarge their parking area that we became aware of their outdoor storage. Now that we're aware, and now that they want to make their outdoor storage area larger, we did instruct them to apply for this special use permit because outdoor storage is only permitted in industrial zoning districts if the village board approves a special use permit for that use. All of the storage is behind the building and it will be contained within a fence as our code requires. For the time that they have been storing materials outdoors, it clearly has not been a problem that was ever brought to our attention, and staff is recommending approval with 5 recommended conditions that are standard for this type of use to address the fencing requirement, the need to keep things tidy, and so forth. Thank you.
Okay, is the applicant present?
Here we are. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Jeffrey Lincolnheld with Arc Design Resources, address 5291 Zenith Parkway, Loves Park, Illinois. I'm here representing the applicant who is traveling back from Houston, Texas tonight. The applicant being Kevin Scheibo, the owner of Nelson Plumbing. Briefly, our role in this project, we got involved after the contractor had kind of said like, hey, you should expand your parking area and your storage yard. And they submitted some crayon drawings to village staff that were met with like, well, you need to really have an engineer do this. And so Nelson Fire called us. We, surveyed the site, took the design intent and made some, engineer drawings, which we submitted to the village. Those were unanimously approved by your engineer. However, during that review process, it came to the village's attention that they had never actually gotten approval to do the outdoor storage yard. So we amended whatever site plans we had gotten approved to incorporate whatever conditions were part of the special use permit, namely making sure that everything was fenced in and making sure that the fence had a site screening capability to it. So their existing and proposed relocated fence now will be site screened from the public, although as Carrie pointed out, everything's behind the building. They're off the frontage road at North 2nd Street. You couldn't even see that they had storage back there. So I think it's pretty much a slam dunk. They've been storing stuff for the last 4 years, and really nobody knew that they didn't know that they were supposed to get a special use permit at the time. So we are correcting that and also doing a slight little parking lot expansion and storage yard expansion at the same time, which technically, I will just admit, is underway. they really wanted to beat the weather and get this project done. So they're filing for the special use permit under, the assumption that we'll get that and then doing the parking lot work at their own risk. Any questions?
Yeah, are there any questions from the commissioners?
Your additional storage is on the northeast corner? But I saw where the parking's gonna be.
Yeah, kind of the north side of their current storage, they're basically expanding it out about 10 more feet on that north line, their north
Gotcha.
property line.
Because there's that land that's for sale next to you, just north of.
Yeah, not into that.
Not into that.
No, just,
Okay. You're
within
not
5
buying that part.
We're not buying that. We're just.
Maybe you should. You really expand.
Maybe they should, yeah.
No.
Then there'll be probably some other permit we gotta file for.
Well, yeah, we'll be here for you. No, that I just wanted to make
Yeah,
sure
no,
where you were
they're
at.
staying on their own property. They're not interested in that land next door.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, you may be seated.
Okay.
Thank you. To open up for discussion, can I have a motion to approve agenda item number 5 with conditions?
So moved.
And second? Okay. Any discussion? Seems pretty straightforward to me. Do the commissioners agree with the findings of fact?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And can we get a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Holmes,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Pfluger,
Yes.
Commissioner Hankins.
Yes.
Commissioner Klingler's yes. Commissioner Daylevich.
Yes. Okay, so this will move forward with a positive recommendation to the Planning and Economic Development Committee meeting on November 4th at 5:30 PM.
Is there public input at that meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you are, the applicant is encouraged to attend.
Okay. 5 p.m. November.
5:30.
5:30.
Yep. Thank you.
Great.
Okay, for the next item on the list, agenda number 6, ordinance number 5824, variance from industrial design standards. Staff report, please.
Yes, an auto repair business called Raw Steel was on both this lot and the adjacent lot to the east for about 10 years now. Because they did body work at this business, there were a lot of salvaged cars and auto parts scattered on the property, particularly after the owner of the business passed away. The site did become a violation. Junkyards are not permitted at all in this light industrial district, so the owner's family did receive a violation notice, and we met with the family to discuss their plans to clean up the situation. They have made efforts to remove the items from the site to bring the property into conformity, and the son in the family plans to retain just this lot to have a minor auto repair business here, and he has applied for this variance because he's asking to keep a storage container that at some point was acquired and brought to the property. He would like to keep it to use it for storage. He would move the container so it is behind the principal structure on the lot, pretty much out of view from the front roadway. Because a shipping container does not comply with the village's industrial design standards, we can only permit it to stay if this variance from the design standards is granted. This is an older industrial area. The site is entirely fenced in, and we appreciate the efforts that the family is making to clean up the property. We do not see it being a detriment to the surroundings if this shipping container were allowed to stay. So staff is recommending approval of the variance with conditions that only one shipping container can be here, and it has to be located behind the building as they indicated in the site plan that they submitted. Thank you.
Okay,
Can I have both of you raise your right hands? Do you both solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Can you each state your name and address for the record?
I'm Linda Bunkers. And what else do you want to know?
And
8767 Caradale Drive, Caledonia, Illinois.
thank you. And now,
I'm Tyler Bunkers, 411 Soper Avenue, Rockford, Illinois.
thank you.
thank you. Do you guys have any additional information to share with the commission?
Well, I'm hard of hearing, so I wasn't sure what she all said, but basically I want to move the shipping container off of 1146 to the north side of the building on 1128 Old Ralston Road. It'll pretty much totally be concealed by the building. There'll only be about 3.5 feet that you can see from the road. It would be in the fenced in area. So we're just asking permission if we can move it over there to the other
Purely
side.
for storage purposes,
Okay.
for vehicle parts.
Okay. Is there any questions from the commissioners?
So it's, how you gonna make room? I mean, I went by there and there's just all sorts of vehicles there and everything. I mean, please enlighten me about how, in the time frame that you're going to clean up the yard so that,
When was your visit? When exactly?
Well, he's
Yeah.
cleaned an
Was
area
it recent or?
that is cleaned out, and then the shipping container can sit in that cleared off area.
Yeah.
And we've gotten rid of just about 80% of the cars. There's not that many there anymore.
There's like 20 left. There was 75 and stuff. So,
So everything,
They're all inside the
everything's
fence.
behind the fence.
yeah.
But I don't know, I drove by there and there's, it's full of vehicles and actually you have I believe you have an RV out front and a couple of cars out front in the grass and a mattress out front and.
Yeah, those are personal vehicles, and then the camper was something my buddy bought yesterday that I was preparing for him, but that'll be gone tomorrow.
Any other questions? You guys may be seated. Thank you. Okay, to open up for discussion, can I have a motion to approve agenda item number 6 with conditions?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Okay, any discussion?
I like the fact that they're cleaning it up. It's quite a mess. Can we get it the same color as the original building? You know what I mean? Can we make it all one color then? Is that something we can add? to
Well, the
conditions?
shipping container is already there.
I understand it, but I mean, if we're gonna let them keep it, can
You
we
mean move it and then paint it the same
paint it
color?
the same color as the building that's there? At least it's, a little more conforming. And I know the weather's coming now. They might not be able to do it till spring. Because they all seem to rust, and then they just look like another junk pile. Because they're those intermodal containers aren't, yes, it'll clean it up. Yes, it's inside the fence, but at least it doesn't look like another piece of trash sitting there.
Right.
So,
If the commission wanted to add a condition about the color and maintenance of the container, I'm all ears.
so I don't know what you guys think, but
Well, I don't know, I look at the property and I just think there's just a lot of stuff there and it's just all hoarded and I don't think a shipping container is gonna fix any of the problems of the mess.
Well, the shipping container is already there. It's on the property next door
moving.
now.
Right, but we don't allow shipping containers.
No, because they don't comply with our
Right.
industrial design
So
standards.
we're just moving one problem to another problem. I don't like the whole idea.
is there a timeline? To get it
I
cleaned
didn't
up?
see a timeline
For,
having it.
Clean it up?
well, they've been working with our code enforcement.
Okay.
They are making a lot of progress.
Okay.
And just to be clear, that's a separate issue. We're only talking about the shipping
Yeah.
container
Yep.
at this point.
Yeah, in discussions about in the process of cleaning this up, like they had an auction to get rid of a lot of the stuff and talking about all that. We discussed that they wanted to keep the shipping container to store things there in it. And I explained it, that would require the variance.
I mean, it is light industrial, it's not not a strip mall. So
What's the zoning of the strip just south of that?
That is actually zoned agricultural.
It's still agricultural?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Any other, Jim?
I guess the point I'd like to make is that I'm not a fan of shipping containers, but without the shipping container, there's more stuff visible.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Moving forward, do the commissioners agree with the findings of fact?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Secretary, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Hankins,
Yes.
Commissioner Klingler's a yes. Commissioner Holmes,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Fluger,
No,
Commissioner Danielovich.
Yes. Okay, so this will go forward with a positive recommendation to the Planning and Economic Development Committee meeting on November 4th at 5:30 in this location. So you guys are encouraged to attend that meeting for the next steps. Thank you very much. Okay, next up on the agenda is item number 7, ordinance number 5924, special use permit for outdoor storage in the light industrial district. Staff report, please.
Yep, this is the location for Union Pallet, where they assemble, repair, and ship wooden pallets. During a standard fire inspection of the business, it was discovered that there were so many pallets stacked in this building so high that it was a fire hazard. To remedy the situation, they've asked to store pallets outdoors, like our previous agenda item for outdoor storage. This does require a special use permit. And you can see on the location map in your packets that there's really no room to store these pallets behind the building. The building is pretty far, close to the back of the lot. But so that they're proposing outdoor storage area in front of the building, which is a bit unusual, but where they propose the storage area in the west side of the lot, west of the dock pit, it's not an area where they would lose any required parking spaces. They already have 3 driveways into this lot, so accessibility into the property isn't going to be compromised. And as required, everything would be contained behind a solid site obscuring fence. Staff recommends approval of the special use permit with standard conditions, including the condition that the pallets themselves cannot be stacked taller than the fence, particularly since this would be in the front yard. We want to make sure it isn't unsightly and that everything is contained behind the fence visibly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, my name is Daniel Escalera. We're with Union Palace at 1209 Shopper Drive in Machesney Park.
Okay. Is there any additional information you'd like to share with the commission?
Not really. I mean, just what happened basically was that we just got this place a few months ago. So they went and did an inspection there. They said it was fine to, for the business we're planning to put on there. I guess I was told by someone here in the staff that you guys never had a pallet business in Machesney Park. So I guess they didn't know the regulations about the fire and things like that. So they passed all the permits, everything went fine. It was a couple of things that they had to rearrange, whatever, it was fixed. So months later, they come by the fire department. They find out that the pallets are stacked kind of high, I guess, because the building doesn't have what is it called? Sprinklers, I think that's what it's called. So they recommended to bring them down a little bit. So we told them that we've been working on getting them out more, but we needed maybe space outdoor because that's what pallets are. Pallet companies have, that's what we make, a lot of pallets. And so they recommended us for maybe outside. Since we don't have many employees, we have many parking spaces. We have 3 entrances in the front. We suggested that maybe on one side where it's not going to be on nobody's, way or whatever. And so we're out there just trying to fix everything, that we didn't know about, basically.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners? Okay, I'm good. Thank you. You may be seated. To open up for discussion, can I have a motion to approve agenda item number 8 with conditions? I'm sorry, number 7 with conditions.
Motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
just one for Carrie. So in that area, it's already blacktop there, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Gary, how many parking spaces are required for that building?
I don't remember offhand. For industrial, it's just, and for warehouse use like this, it's just one space for every 1,000 square feet of building area. They're gonna have plenty of parking left over.
Oh, okay, because I'm gonna say there's not much, they're just doing it there. There's not much space to stack anything.
Well, they'll still have
Goes all
stuff
the way.
indoors.
Yeah.
Well, I understand, yeah.
That seems,
I think it goes
I've
all
been
the way.
there.
it goes all the way down to the,
That's what I mean, so the parking spots they can use here on this side.
oh,
Yeah, losing those parking spots is gonna be okay, but
Oh, okay,
the
right, because
the
they have
storage
truck
area
docks,
is
they
gonna
have
go
to
all
get
the
in
way
and out
back
of
to
there.
the building.
So they have 31 parking spaces right now, according to the layout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
they
then
need-
I didn't even make a note of it, but I remember checking to make sure
Yeah.
they're gonna keep
They need,
enough
they
parking
need 12
spaces.
or 14.
Do you know how many square foot your building is,
It's-
roughly?
Have no clue, to be honest.
No?
I'm not too
I
yeah,
think it's
it's my
about
brother's company, so
14,000.
About 20,000, you thought?
14.
I think
14?
it's less. I think it's like in between 14, 15. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
there's 24 spots left
Yeah,
after
there's
this.
big
plenty
enough
of
for
parking.
So he's
left
got
over.
plenty then.
Yeah, yeah.
Before
All
you
right.
even.
You'll have
but I
plenty
know
of
it's not
parking.
20,
I
it's
checked that.
around 14, 15, not sure.
Okay. You'll have plenty of parking then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was just looking over on the other side of the building. He's got more room. Get rid of those parking and could do more outside storage, but this is fine. Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, do the commissioners agree with the findings of fact?
Yes.
Yes. Maybe have a roll call vote, please, Shane.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger is a yes, Commissioner Hankins.
Yes,
Commissioner Fluger,
Yes.
Commissioner Danilowitz.
Yes. Okay, so this will go forward with a positive recommendation to the Planning and Economic Development meeting on November 4th at 4:30.
Do I have to attend that meeting on the 4th?
It's recommended.
Yeah, it's recommended, yeah.
When is it? I'm so sorry.
It's November 4th at
Okay.
5:30 PM in this location.
Already. Well, thank you
Yeah,
very
it's a
much.
Monday.
guys. Have a good day.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay, so next up on the agenda is item number 8, ordinance number 6024. It's a text amendment to zoning code, amending commercial design standards.
So back in November 2022, some of you may remember voting on text amendment that required drive-through lanes to be at least 12 feet wide. Well, some developers are trying to make sure the drive-through lanes are wide enough that they're not difficult to navigate, but they aren't leaving room for a vehicle to actually exit that drive-through lane if they need to when they're already in line. Specifically, the need for this bypass lane requirement became apparent when we were reviewing a site concept plan that has a drive-through lane on top of a retaining wall, with a retaining wall right next to the drive-through lane. So it's really impossible to leave that drive-through lane without dropping off of the side of the retaining wall. If a car in that drive-through lane were to break down, nobody can move, everybody is stuck. If there's a medical emergency or a car bursts into flames, there's no way for first responders to pull up right next to that car. Just the other day, I was at a drive-through lane and at one of our local restaurants, and they said, our card machine is broken. We're only taking cash, and some people had to leave the drive-through lane, and thankfully there was enough room to leave that drive-through lane. They didn't have cash. So this text amendment would add criteria to our commercial design standards that says all drive-through lanes shall provide an adjacent bypass lane or other unobstructed area, a minimum of 12 feet in width as a route for vehicles to exit or circumvent the drive-through lane. It kind of seems like common sense to have this bypass lane, but when somebody's trying to cram as much as they can on a lot, if it's not in our code, they're not going to provide that extra area if they don't need to.
Sure.
So we recommend approval of this text amendment.
Okay. Do we need a motion this one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can I get a motion on the text amendment, ordinance number 6024? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. As far as any discussion with this or anything?
I think bypass lane should be 16 feet wide. We've had this discussion about the drive-through lanes, and we were 12 feet wide and we went to 11. But then your bypass lanes, that they should be wide enough for emergency vehicles and Brinks trucks and other wider than normal vehicles.
I guess I'd like Jay's opinion on the emergency vehicles.
The ambulance really isn't a big deal. It's just that engine or something, that, you know, takes a little more length. And so depending on what's going on there, the fire lane requires 20 feet wide for building access. So does it fall under that? I don't know. And then you got to worry about the overhang as well. You know what I mean? Most of them are high enough. So
Well, we can't amend the number because it was legally noticed just adding a drive-through lane or a bypass lane requirement without specifics about the width of it. So if it makes sense to change the width, we can certainly do that.
would that include like McDonald's? They drive along, so you'd have to have room to get around that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, most of them are.
Yeah,
There's-
and a lot of
there's
restaurants
parking.
have parking on both sides, so
Right,
it's really
so,
not a problem, but
It's
not
just,
all of them.
just sometimes the banks try to squeeze in.
I don't know which one we're talking about.
Well, and I was concerned too about the garbage truck trying to get around there.
Yeah.
Because he can't back into.
Well, when we do approve commercial site plans, we need to know where the garbage enclosure is going to be and make sure that it's accessible to the garbage trucks. So that's a whole other thing that we look at separately.
It's hard to say. Is 12 feet, I mean, that's a pretty wide lane. I'm trying to think what, like 251 is, what is that lane width? Is that 12 feet? I don't think they're much more than
What's the
that.
driving range?
The fire truck's 8 feet wide. They
I don't
can't
know
be
offhand.
any
I
more
think
than
they're
100
10.
inches
I think they're wide. 10. So 2-lane road, I think is 20, I think, not including the median.
Both lanes,
I think so.
so 10.
I'd have to look it up. I'll look it up.
Most state highways, your lane width is 12 feet.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And your average vehicle, semi or whatever, is 8. So there should be a little bit of cushion there. But most off-ramps for interchanges are 16 feet wide because they allow for the fact that you could have a
Trailer.
disabled vehicle there.
Well, this bypass lane would be in addition to the 12-foot actual drive-through lane. So there would be, 24 feet from the building to
Well,
all
and that
open
would-
for driving.
And that would be,
Yeah.
so if they have like a median or something, it'd be 12 from the building to the edge of the median, then however thick the median is, then another 12?
The median would be an obstruction, so there couldn't be a
Oh.
median between the
Okay.
drive-through and the
It's the
bypass
actual
lane.
lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, an
actual
actual
flat.
unobstructed route
So-
to
so
exit the
the-
drive-through lane.
The bypass, it doesn't have a specification on the width, only the
I'm
drive-through.
I'm
lane
recommending
itself.
12 feet, which is the
Yeah.
same as the
Yeah, they
drive-through
didn't have
lane.
Right.
But that means from
24
the
feet, wow.
building to, they're gonna have 24
Yeah.
feet of area to drive through.
I'm just concerned that when you make something a minimum and you put it into the code, it all of a sudden becomes the standard,
Yeah.
not the minimum.
So you're saying we could put 14 in there and then they could always ask for an exception to make it 12 if they need to squeeze it onto a spot?
Yeah.
I'm not against that.
I guess I go around and I look at what's already out there and I don't see any bypass lanes. McDonald's, none of them up and down 173 have a bypass lane that
Well,
I
it's
saw.
not marked, but there is
Yeah, but
room
there is
to
room to get
around.
exit.
There is space
Yeah.
to get around.
Yeah? I don't know. It just
Well,
seems,
Because they have
Starbucks
parking
might be a tight-
and a driveway and then they don't have an obstruction. So like Chick-fil-A and everything, you can get out and around and once you get past their barrels, but that's it. The lanes there, you could run those over.
It's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at myself as a developer and going, well, you want me to spend an extra 40 grand for another lane for what could happen? A car might catch on fire. I mean, if there was a medical emergency, the paramedics would just come with their gurney and take the person out, and who cares about what happens to the cars that are there?
Well, but
You
in
get the
some
person out.
situations.
You get the person
like
out, you
what I
don't get the car
described-
out.
Like what I described, there was a proposed drive-through lane with a retaining wall right next to it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can drive adjacent to that drive-through.
And that's the one too, that when we talk about garbage access or anything like that, they have to wait for the lane to clear up to even get through that area to.
Well, it depends where the garbage
Yeah.
access is, but.
Mm.
And then, I mean, there could be potentially be a situation if we don't have this requirement where people are literally stuck in a drive-through lane. There's people behind them and people in front of them, and they have no way to get out. And that's why I drafted this in the first place, because I thought that's a terrible idea to allow that situation to happen.
I think 14 feet is a good compromise. And then we can adjust as they.
We need to make a motion to change the,
Yeah, we have a
The
pending
regular-
motion, right?
right,
Yeah.
We need a sub-motion to
to modify.
amend the motion.
Okay. Before we do that, are there any other changes or adjustments we want to make to it? Okay. Can I have a motion to amend the sub
It's a sub-motion.
sub-motion?
Somebody needs to make a sub-motion to change the 12 feet to 14.
I'll make a motion to change the minimum width of the bypass lane to 14 feet in width.
I'll second.
Second. Okay.
And now, is there any discussion on the sub-motion?
Is there any discussion on the sub-motion? Okay, and roll call vote on the sub-motion.
Commissioner Klinger is a yes. Commissioner Hankins?
Yes.
Commissioner Fluger?
I'm gonna say no. I just think it's excessive.
You just say no.
No.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes?
Yes.
Commissioner Danielovich?
Yes. Okay, so the sub-motion passes to amend the text to say a minimum of 14 feet in width.
So now you're back to the main motion, and the main motion provides for 14. I mean,
Yes.
What you're motioning on provides for 14.
And we already have, do we need to re-motion that?
No,
Okay,
no, you just go ahead and
so can we have
talk some
a,
more, or.
oh, is there any more discussion
Yeah, I
on
mean,
the
do whatever you
overall
want,
thing
but-
now that we've,
Discussion and then vote.
okay?
If there's no discussion, you go ahead and vote.
So there was never a bypass lane. Is that, that's
There
what
was
you're, that's what we're
never-
adding.
There was never a
Okay,
bypass lane requirement in our
report.
code.
Okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Or do you want me to just put an
It's
extra
probably gonna be
column?
the same vote on action.
Mr. Secretary, may we have a roll call vote, please?
All right, Commissioner Klinger is a yes. Commissioner Hankins?
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes?
Yes.
Commissioner Fluger?
No.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Danielovich?
And yes. Okay, so that passes and move forward now for agenda item number 9, which is ordinance number 6124, text amendment to zoning code clarifying reference to regulations for residential multifamily development. Staff report,
Yep,
please.
so back in 2016, our village board asked us to draft some extra standards for larger multifamily developments. Larger was considered anything more than 8 units. And some of the extra standards were things like requiring parking in garages, requiring certain sidewalk widths, requiring windows on every building facade, things like this. And they wanted these larger developments to each be approved by the village board and not permitted outright in any of our zoning districts. So we drafted multifamily planned unit development regulations, which require a special use permit. These regulations have been in our code since 2016. Now, more recently, our code was maintained, it began being maintained by a codification service, and it's all online and easily accessible and searchable, and probably more people are going to try to figure out what our regulations are without just calling us. Unlike before, it was just one big PDF on our webpage that you could download and search through. While the multifamily PUD requirement is kind of buried in a section of our code, and it has been since it was adopted, if anyone's just looking at the table of uses in our zoning code, they do not see that there's any extra standards for a 9-family complex or larger. They would think that it's just permitted outright in our R4 district. So this text amendment just adds that to our table of uses and makes some table corrections so that everything is referenced properly, so they know what all the regulations are for all of our multifamily developments. Like I said, our regulations aren't changing. They're just easier to find with this text amendment.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the text amendment?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Okay, any discussion on this item?
So, and I haven't looked at it obviously, but does it require more space, more land for a 9-family? Because the fuel load is higher, you know what I mean? So the setback should be a little more.
I don't remember offhand what the, but there are.
That's also not what's at issue. This
It's,
is just moving stuff around.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, it's not
Oh,
changing.
I didn't-
Not an issue.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
misunderstood.
these
purely a
changes were
correction.
adopted
Just a-
in 2016.
Just where they're putting it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just adjusting.
Withdraw.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Sorry.
Any other
Read too much
actual
into it.
questions? Okay, maybe.
Did anybody proofread it? No. I'm sorry.
Okay, we're turning off his mic now. Mr. Secretary, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Hankins.
Yes.
Commissioner Fluger,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes,
I don't know now. Yes.
Commissioner Klingers, yes, Commissioner Denny Levitch.
Yes. Okay, that's approved to move and then move forward. Next up on the agenda is the annual meeting.
Our Planning and Zoning Commission bylaws do require the commission to nominate and elect their officers, the chair, vice chair, and secretary every year in October. And the bylaws state that each term is 1 year and each officer cannot serve in that position for more than 2 consecutive terms. So Jonathan has been our chair for just 1 term. Shane's been our secretary for just 1 term. Dan has already been vice chair for 2 terms now. So if anybody wants to nominate anybody, now's the time to do it.
I nominate Jonathan. Or where he's at.
I accept your nomination. I nominate Shane.
I nominate John.
Let's just deal with the chair first.
The chair.
Yeah.
Oh, chair first? Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have to vote?
You can do all those in favor.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I will retain chairman. Okay, and vice chairman? Nominations.
Nominate
Same.
Hankins.
Wait, he had a same motion there, the same
Yeah,
person.
Shane.
Oh,
But
oh no, so Dan's the vice chairman.
Yeah,
right
Dan's
now,
vice
so-
I'm the
chair.
vice
Oh, vice
chair.
chair.
Yeah, I was going
So
down the
I've
list.
been doing it 2 years,
Yeah,
so
okay.
that's my term's up,
Two and out.
I guess.
Right?
Second Jim.
Okay, all in favor of Jim being vice chairman?
All right.
Aye. Okay, and now the secretary.
Cool.
I don't know.
Nominate Shane.
Stay, right?
I nominate Shane. Yeah.
I nominate Shane.
Can I second it? I'll second it. Okay, all in favor of Shane?
Aye.
Okay. Is there anything else for the annual meeting then? Okay, agenda item number 11, any other business? Hearing none, public comments, with no public, hearing none. I motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
And
Yeah.
Meeting is adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Everyone wanted to go, so.